experts are warning about a new, dangerous, TikTok trend where people are creating homemade radiators from candles and terracotta plant pots. Users are placing an upside-down terracotta pot over a group of lit candles to create a miniature heater that will warm their homes. Tutorials promote it as a cost-of-living hack, which will help people to save money on their heating bills. However, experts from London Fire Brigade have warned that the trend is dangerous, as the outside of the pot will get very hot and creates a burn risk. Moisture can also get trapped inside the clay after watering plants, which could quickly evaporate with the heat and cause the pot to explode. The brigade's Assistant Commissioner Charlie Pugsley said, "Candles are one of the most common causes of fires in the home and they shouldn't be used for anything other than their intended purpose. Although life hacks can be handy, so many of them have the potential to be dangerous. And we would urge people not to follow videos online if they could put you or others in danger." TikTok users are placing an upside-down terracotta pot over a group of lit candles to create a miniature heater. Tutorials promote it as a cost-of-living hack, which will help people to save money on their heating bills. However, experts are slamming the hack as it creates a risk of fire and explosion. Videos explaining how to set up a terracotta pot heater began circulating on TikTok at the start of 2021, but have recently gained more attention as it starts to get colder. The hashtag